Thank you to our smart aleck pianist. Good morning. My name is Dan Vaughn. I use he, him pronouns. And I look forward to sharing leadership of today's service with Reverend Bran Lennox. I am so proud, so honored to be able to say to you in all sincerity, from my heart and from the heart collectively of this congregation, that whoever you are, wherever you live, whomever you love, whatever you do for a living, you are welcome at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. I forgot to get a drink of water, and I'm telling you that. Sorry. We invite you to join us for this service and to join us afterward for our coffee hour following the morning service, either downstairs or if you're online, you can go to Zoom for that. Some of us think it might be the most important thing we do on a Sunday morning, but you can decide. I invite you to take this moment to hold our space here as sacred by silencing your electronic devices and preparing yourself to be present. Online or in person, we are so grateful that you are here with us at this time.
We cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to we have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and of wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so let us worship together. Each week it is our tradition to light a chalice which casts a circle of light to hold us all. As we create anew this symbol of our shared faith, let's reflect on these words from Vine Deloria Jr. Who will find peace with the lands? The future of all humankind lies waiting for those who will come to understand their lives and take up their responsibilities to all living things. Who will listen to the trees, the animals and birds, to the voices of the places of the land? As the long-forgotten peoples of the respective continents rise and begin to reclaim their ancient heritage, they will discover the meaning of the lands of their ancestors.
Our anthem this morning is Awakening by Ina Young. The composer writes this: Pele, she who shapes the sacred land, is the Hawaiian goddess of fire and volcanoes. Small towns and entire forests have been wiped out by Pele's passionate, unpredictable, and volatile temper. While her presence is felt on all of the Hawaiian Islands, legend maintains that she resides in the crater of one of the most active volcanoes in the world, Kilauea. Legend tells of Pele traveling throughout the islands, appearing as a beautiful young woman or as an old woman, sometimes accompanied by a white dog. Among the people of the islands, Pele is revered and respected. Many who stand at the edge of Kilauea's crater say they are moved by the spirit of the goddess. On June 7th, 2023, Kilauea unleashed its fiery wrath once again, creating a spectacle that intertwined both beauty and fear. As the earth rumbled, vibrant hues of red and orange illuminated the night sky, casting an ethereal glow upon the surrounding landscape.
National Coming Out Day has been celebrated annually since 1988, when activists established the holiday as a positive form of solidarity in protest of anti-LGBTQ attitudes and legislation. One of the founders, Robert Eichberg, said, "Most people think they don't know anyone gay or lesbian. And in fact, everybody does. It is imperative that we come out and let people know who we are and disabuse them of their fears and stereotypes. This type of celebration helps the public better understand the lives and worth of people who are often discriminated against for their sexuality and or gender. Work like this is still important today when our national leaders and politicians so often try to make statements and laws which attack lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, two-spirit, and gender nonconforming people in this country. Not everyone can come out of the closet safely. And on National Coming Out Day, we also recognize the struggle of those who need to keep their identity a secret at home or in public. We also honor those who are still on a path of discovering who they are, recognizing that human beings are always growing, changing, and learning at every age. Today, I offer this blessing in honor of all those among us who are, in ways great and small, living into our authentic selves as persons under the great queer umbrella. If this describes you, allow this blessing to embrace and uplift you. If you are here as an ally, I invite you to open your heart and silently offer your love to your neighbors in this moment. These words are adapted from Kimberly Wildzuski. My siblings, you have come here with stardust in your hair, with the rush of planets in your blood, with your heart beating out the seasons of eternity, with a shining in your eyes like starlight. As you bring your presence here to this congregation, may it be known that we count you among our blessings. You were born into a world filled with boxes, boundaries, closets, and enclosures. Some were bold and loud, others were built up around you without your knowing. And in your own true growing, you are having to discover and dismantle each. Piece by piece, you are tearing down assumptions. Piece by piece, you are pulling away expectations. Piece by piece, your spirit is mending. Piece by piece, you are laying a new foundation on which your true self dances, sings, flourishes, holy, holy, and free. Let it be known that this journey of resistance, of discovery, of alignment is a sacred one. Whatever boundaries you have been given that stifle your spirit, whoever you are waiting on to offer their affirmation, whatever makes you question your place in the world, may you be released from these. May you be reminded that this journey, your journey, is a sacred one, and you are not alone. I want to invite everyone now in the room to reach out and take hands, encircling our gathering here. Folks online, you may wish to reach your hands toward the screen, so you're in our circle here too. And let's all look around now and see the way that our connection is enfolding us. Beloveds, what surrounds us now is neither boundary nor border. What envelops us in this moment now is love, joyful laughter and love. It's affirmation for who we truly are. Beloveds, you were loved before you ever had words, before you could tell anyone who you are. You are loved now. You are worthy of love now. And you will be loved as your life continues to unfurl. May this community be a place where you are always seen, known, and loved for exactly who you are. You may let go of hands now. But our connection remains. And I'll invite Amy forward to share a story with us.
The name of today's story is 47,000 Beads by Koya and Angela Adayaho. This story reminds us how important it is to honor people for who they are. Some people do not automatically fit in little boxes as specific as male and female. Some people live between those spaces their whole lives. It helps us understand the culture of being two-spirit, as some trans people identify. It is also helpful to hear stories from writers and illustrators who identify themselves from this very culture. This relatable story reminds us, too, to think of our non-binary friends and to wish them well. Peyton's Auntie Iota came into her room. "Time for bed, but before sleep, tell me, why did you not dance powwow with us, little one?" Peyton shrugged and flopped down on her bed. "Come on now," said Auntie, "tell me." All in a rush, Peyton said, "I don't want to jingle dance, Auntie. I don't want to wear a dress." "Peyton, there are many dances," Auntie said gently. "There are many regalias." Peyton started to cry. Finally, she said, "There's just none for kids like me." Auntie smiled at Peyton and started undoing her braid. "I think I am beginning to understand. You sleep now, and tomorrow is a new day, and I know someone who can help." In the morning, Auntie Iota baked bread and went to see a friend. She found Elle working and said, "Ho, how is it today, grandparent?" Elle put down her tools and answered, "It's a good day." "What way can I help you today, Iota?" Auntie Iota gave Elle the bread she had baked, and they sat down together in a shady spot. When they were settled, Auntie explained that she wanted to talk about her niece, Peyton. Elle asked, "Peyton is the small, quiet one." "Oh, yes, that's the one," said Auntie Iota. "You've noticed her?" "I've noticed that I always see her keeping time with her feet, but she doesn't dance. She looks at the dancers like she wants badly to dance, like in her heart she is dancing. She is a shy child?" asked Elle. "Peyton is special, grandparent, different. I think her path is two-spirit. I think she wants regalia like her brother and uncle. She feels alone, but I know she isn't. I want to show her that she's not." "Well," said Elle, "I'm happy to share teachings with her and to guide while she learns which path is hers to walk. But I think you need more than just that, yeah?" Iota laughed. "You saw that too? I was hoping you'd help me with getting regalia together for her, the kind she really wants. I know it's a lot to ask." "It's a big job, yeah, but that's why we have a community. Let me ask around. Are you still beading too, Iota? Let's draw it up." On the way home, Iota called her sister Chappa, Peyton's other auntie, and asked if she'd like to make Peyton's new beaded belt and headband. Maybe use lots of orange. It's her favorite. Then she sat down with Peyton's mom, Mika, to explain. They spoke late into the night. Her mom asked, "Should I be worried?" Iota said, "No, sister. You should make a ribbon shirt and pants to match. You'll see, she'll finally get out in the arena where she's meant to be." Who else should she ask? Auntie sent an email to the grandmother who first taught her how to bead. Winona was still making regalia and said she would be glad to help. even if she needed a magnifying glass to see all the tiny beads on Peyton's harness and aprons. Auntie Iota called her cousin all the way in Montana. He was so excited to make a set of beautiful armbands and cuffs for Peyton's new regalia. He sent them with a blessing to sing at the powwow for her and with a hug for Peyton. Last, but the most important, Elle offered to make Peyton's moccasins. They had turtles on their toes to give endurance for the dance and to make Peyton's feet feel grounded to the earth. Peyton was in her room getting ready for the giveaway and potluck. It was one of her favorite and best parts of the powwow. Her aunties and mama would drum and sing, and there would be as much of all of her favorite foods as she could eat. What should I give away? Peyton thought. Grandmother says it's always something you value that you give first. Wait, I've got it. Peyton got down the abalone shell that she put up on the shelf. She held it and remembered how happy she'd been to get it and how it made her smile all year when she looked at it. Perfect. When they got to the potluck, Auntie Iota said, Peyton, I have a special giveaway for you this time. You have heard how, when I was a girl, how I wanted to drum, but all the drummers were men where I lived. Now, you know, I'm head singer on our drum here. My family believed in me and honored me, and today I'm grateful to do the same for you. Our whole family wants to give this gift to you, but the person to give it is a new teacher for you. Auntie Iota said, taking Elle by the hand, this grandparent will give you stories and help you find your path. Aho, Takaya, said Elle, greeting Peyton. I have such stories to tell you about people from all nations who carry two spirits inside them. I can't wait to tell them to you. Peyton, your community stand behind me to give you this gift, and may you dance strong in it tomorrow, Elle said. Peyton unwrapped each package and heard who had made and given it, with her mother and Auntie Iota sitting beside her. The next day at the powwow in the arena with her auntie drumming on an honor song, Peyton was finally dancing. Dancing as themselves, not as a boy or a girl, but as Peyton and their 47,000 beads. And now we invite our youth to head on downstairs to their classes.
Hello again, all. One of my favorite things about membership reflections are what we learn about the people that come up here and talk. We always get a little bit more of the story of our different members, and I love that. I love that. Well, this morning I thought I'd focus on a couple of things that really shaped who I am. Now, I grew up in Oklahoma, born in 1954. Grew up in the 50s and 60s, so you can picture poodle skirts and sock hops and, well, a whole lot of segregation. Racism was just a fact of life for us, especially toward black folks. Remember the massacre in Tulsa, where I grew up, in the 1920s, was it? So less than 50 years before I was born. Anyway, toward black folks, but even more so, and some folks don't realize this, toward Native Americans. Because remember, Oklahoma, again, less than or around 50 years before I was born. Before that, Oklahoma was Indian territory. And then white folks decided they wanted it. And so it became a state. I always remind her, I'll get it right in a minute. I remember asking my mom one time, on one of those rare occasions that we use public transportation, getting on the bus and asking her why all the black people were sitting in the back of the bus. I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I don't remember what she answered. I really don't. But I do remember hearing some pretty awful things said about people who weren't like us, many of them being adults in my life. But my mom, bless her heart, she was different. She always told me, don't you dare judge someone based on the color of their skin or where they come from. Quite a difference from my grandfather, who was quite a racist and anti-Semite. That was her message to me. I remember in first grade, I had a little friend, Elmo. Elmo was the one single black child in my first grade class, and one of the few in my elementary school. And my mother directly instructing me, make friends with him, be nice to him, stand up for him, don't let people boss him around or bully him. So those were the lessons I got about racism. She also taught me to treat people who were of Native American descent, who had been treated so poorly, to give them special kindness. Now, I'll admit, it took a while for those lessons to really sink in. And I don't deny that there was a certain amount of paternalism in those lessons too, you know. We were still figuring it out, even well-intentioned people, as we still are figuring it out. So it took a while for those lessons to sink in, but it wasn't until I was in college that I started reading books like Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. That book and others like it was like a punch in the gut to me. It opened my eyes to the true history of this country, the near genocide of an entire people, and it made me realize how much I didn't know, how much I had been sheltered from all my life. Now, the other big thing that shaped me was my social upbringing. I was raised in a very conservative Christian home. Church every Sunday and Wednesday night, Bible study, the whole 9 yards. And in that world, being LGBTQIA+ was just wrong. I used to say stupid-ass things like, hate the sin and love the sinner, and things like that. But honestly, I didn't really get it. Then in the early 90s, I started doing something entirely different. Even though I was a minister all during this time, I started acting. And I loved it. And I still love it. Community theater, dinner theater, summer stock, eventually some professional gigs. And I discovered something. When you act, there are a lot of gay guys around you. And I realized that who they loved didn't really matter. I realized that these people were not just acquaintances, but they were becoming friends, beloved friends. And you know what? They were some of the kindest, most loving people I had ever met. And I had to do some redefining in my mind about things that mattered. I saw many of them showing compassion and acceptance of people that frankly looked very much the way I believe Jesus looked. Spending time with them, getting to know them, it changed everything. I realized that, like I said, who they loved didn't make them any less moral than the Christians I'd grown up with. I started to realize that knowing someone deeply can heal injustices in my heart and in society. That's exactly what happened to me. Looking back, I see a connection between these two experiences. In both cases, It was about getting to know people, really know them, beyond the stereotypes and prejudices I'd been taught. It was about recognizing their humanity, their worth. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Don't be afraid to get to know people who are different from you. Listen to their stories. Understand their experiences. You might be surprised at what you learn and how it changes you for the better. We all have an obligation to stand up for justice and equality, whether it is for Native Americans or people in the queer community or anyone else who has been marginalized. We need to use our voices to create a more inclusive, accepting, and loving world.
Well, Indigenous Peoples Day and National Coming Out Day are two concurrent holidays with very distinct purposes, practices, and histories. And yet at a certain distance, there's a particularly beautiful commonality between the two. And this has to do with relationality. National Coming Out Day is, on face value, a day that invites people of minority sexual orientations and gender identities to come out and make that identity known. However, I believe that the true invitation being extended on Coming Out Day is to the friends, families, and communities of queer people. And the message is, I want you to know me. The real me. I am offering this tender truth of myself to you so that we can be in deeper relationship with one another. Campaigns encouraging LGBTQIA+ people to come out en masse were targeted at making political change. But the whole reason why change like that works is because people change their minds about issues when what's at stake affects someone they care about personally. Deeper knowing helps heal injustices in such a direct way because human beings are profoundly relational. Indigenous Peoples Day is also an invitation to deeper knowing. Those who fought to establish this holiday have offered non-natives several gifts through this campaign. First, there is the gift of understanding the consequences of actions, past and present. For those of us who are living with the benefits of a heritage of stolen land, as we begin to have an understanding of the injustices done to Native Americans and the pain that our actions or our inactions continue to cause, we are better equipped
to make less harmful choices. That is a powerful gift. And this holiday offers a chance to develop a deeper relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous residents of this territory. It deconstructs the lionization of the Europeans who brutally colonized this land and recenters people and practices in Native communities which are so enriching to the fabric of humanity. It offers non-natives the chance to become aware of where we might be able to use our resources to better support Indigenous culture and well-being. The most important relational gift of this holiday, however, is a call to action within reach for each and every one of us. In the United States, we have a deeply broken relationship with the land. We can see the impacts of this every day. Indigenous scholars like Vine Deloria Jr., among many others, have observed that both the Christian abdication from the living world in favor of the next and the capitalist attitude of unchecked growth and new technology, regardless of the human cost, have influenced American attitudes about nature to the point where we are now facing a ghastly ecological crisis, the evidence of which we are faced with on a weekly basis nowadays. Indigenous Americans are known for being incredible stewards of the earth. Practices going back for millennia demonstrate profound knowledge and wisdom that science is only starting to catch up to in some cases. The lush and fruit-filled forests of the East Coast, which so astounded the colonizers, were not that way by accident. They had been carefully seeded and tended to by the people who lived there. We are just beginning to understand the depth of the damage which has resulted from the European belief that there is a dichotomy between nature and humanity. It is essential for the future of our planet that we reorient ourselves to understanding that humans are a part of nature, that our behaviors are the behaviors of nature, and that what happens to nature happens to us. If there is one overarching way to combat the destruction of the earth, Vine Deloria Jr. joins the chorus of other eco-theological thinkers who assert that we must not see the places where we live as superficial locations and ourselves as simply passing through. He says that no matter who we are, no matter where we are, we must create a genuine, loving, spiritual connection with the local land with which we live. What is this line of thought suggesting? We are all being asked to do the sacred and vital work of getting relational with the land we inhabit. The ways are simple but require commitment to continue over time. You could go spend time outside, whether walking or not, and engage your powers of observation. And don't distract yourself from the conversation with your phone or a book. Really notice everything. Pay special attention to which animals and plants you see, how and where the trees grow, where and how the water flows. Try to discover these characteristics and how they change in every weather. Some of us might be able to make and strengthen our connection with the land by placing our hands or bare feet on it and feeling the flow of energy back and forth. Many of us might find benefit in talking out loud to nature, speaking politely to the birds and the squirrels, musing aloud with trees, asking questions of the wind and the weather. The research types among us may get a lot out of visiting the library and learning the history and ecology of the land there. Be sure to look far enough into the past that you're not only learning about the land after the arrival of colonization. To quote Deloria again, peoples and lands can relate to each other in a very powerful manner to develop a spiritual unity. I think that this message is beyond hopeful, that we not only can, but are invited to create these roots wherever we are. Whether we live on the land of our ancestors or move to a whole different country last week, it is good for the world if we actively seek out a special connection with and participate in nature. Now, for those among us whose families were forcibly removed from their native lands, sometimes this establishment of connection is more complex. It may be healing to find roots in the ancestral lands so that flourishing becomes possible in the neighborhoods of the present day. This week is calling us to create authentic connections through the practice of deep knowing. We grow when we do this work on many levels: knowing of the self or introspection, knowing with our neighbors or communion, knowing of the complexities of history or education, knowing with the land that gives us life or eco-theology, and beyond. This is also a call to courage. Much of this deep knowing involves encountering truths about ourselves, our loved ones, and the world which may be painful or unsettling to encounter. The work of healing is by nature unsettling because we can't retain the same old habits and hope for a better outcome. When we seek healing for ourselves, each other, and the world, we are asking to be shaken up a little. It's so necessary, however, while in the midst of this unsteady feeling, to make sure we're aware of who is most at risk and who is bearing the steepest burden of this ecological crisis. If we are on the less marginalized end of things, that doesn't make our own discomfort less real or less valid, but it does mean that our words and actions need to prioritize, balancing some of the pain away from the more oppressed people in the situation. It also means we need to become very careful listeners, as it can be easy to drown out the voices of those who are already wounded. This week, if there's only one thing you take away from the sermon, let it be this. Choose one thing that you can do for the next few months, which will bring you closer in connection with the land where you live. And then start doing it. I agree with all of the scholars who are telling us that this practice will make the world a better place on every level. And I believe that with time and courage, we will all discover the power of deep knowing for ourselves, for one another, and for our world. May it be so. Now is the time when we engage as a community in the sharing of our joys and sorrows, our concerns and our milestones. When we join together to hold each other in support and in celebration, we deepen our sense of interrelationship. We may find our sorrows eased and our joys magnified. I invite you to share them now through writing them on a slip or typing them in the online chat. Please indicate whether your message is okay to share aloud. You can also honor whatever you are holding in your heart in silence and know that it is held. We will not be placing stones in water this morning because we have space constraints because of the wonderful gifts of bell music. Please, spoken or unspoken, know that our hearts join with yours in carrying all that life brings. We have a note of gratitude from a volunteer at Gather the Spirit for Justice. This volunteer says, "I am grateful to the Unitarian Church for volunteering to hold a toiletry drive in November for all the homeless and low income of Allison Hill. With so much turmoil in the world, it is easy to forget that those that need help here. So thank you. Thank you." An anonymous note this morning. This person shares, "I am grateful for the outpouring of emotional, financial, and in-person support from my coworkers for my current medical situation, and ask for your thoughts and prayers as treatments continue." Paul says, "So thankful to have broken free from the bigotry, racism, and homophobia of my family heritage. Thankful for the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg." Mary Sebastian shares a joy. Mary says, "My own personal sweet potato apocalypse. Please take one during coffee hour." I think that's a joy and a plea. And Anita Menser says, "Joy of spending Saturday with members of our grounds and garden team, tidying up our flower beds and planting 10 native trees." What a wonderful way to spend time in nature. For all that has been shared, and those many concerns we hold deep in our hearts and yet remain unspoken, we journey with each other in love. Let's share a moment of silence together now. Let's invite one another into the spirit of meditation. And I'll begin by asking you to find a posture that's just a little bit more comfortable than you were a moment ago. And invite your awareness into the sense of your feet, wherever they might be falling. The sits bones of your body, wherever they're connecting. A little bit of symmetry between the sides of your body, and some balance between the front and back of your posture. And let your hands fall somewhere that invites greater awareness and focus. And let your eyes relax, either closed or just with a softened focus in front of you. And bring your awareness into the rise and fall of your breathing. Taking notice of any place that the breath might be disrupted in your body. Letting any tensions that can be released. And simply accepting without judgment any sensations or tensions that want to remain right now. There's no need to struggle with them. And just as there's no need to struggle with your sensations, with your breath, there's also no need to struggle now with your thoughts. They will flow as they flow through your mind. And as you bring your awareness to them, simply witness them. And if you catch yourself being swept along with them, simply invite yourself back into a space of quiet, non-judgmental witness. And in this place of witness, with an open mind and an open heart, begin to ask yourself this simple question: who am I? And do not demand a response. The question is introduced without expectation. Whenever other thoughts begin to arise, ask again, inquire of each thought, who am I? To whom has this thought arisen? Who am I? As we continue in meditation for another quiet moment, from time to time, in a relaxed way, repeat that question. No expectations of an answer, no judgment of the flow of thoughts. Who am I? Let's begin to bring awareness back into our shared space now. Deepen the breath to let go of this time of focus. Open your eyes when you're ready. And let's return into worship here with one another.
For whatever reason, my message I did in 14 point, and this part I did in 8. So I got to hold the paper up. Sorry about that. The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, an intentionally gathered congregation of freely thinking, loving people. The church is created, sustained, and supported by us. Each month, we share half. I got to tell you, that has always impressed the heck out of me when I first started coming here, that you share half of the collected plate on a Sunday morning. Half of it we share with a local nonprofit organization. For the month of October, we are sharing with Peace Promise. Peace Promise addresses the complexity of sex trafficking in the Harrisburg region by offering outreach and intervention, support and training, education and awareness, and economic empowerment for those who have experienced the weight of sexual exploitation. They partner with survivors in their healing process to provide for practical needs like housing and employment, while also addressing emotional support and life skill trainings to equip survivors to thrive in their journey to freedom. If you wish to contribute online, visit uchbg.org page for options. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able.
We dedicate these gifts to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of compassion and action, faith and fellowship, hope and wholeness.
Sometimes you just don't feel like trying. Too many politicians lying, too many hungry babies crying, too many random bullets flying, too much time spent in struggle, too many little kids in trouble, too many cities gone to rubble, too many people talking double. This can't be our destination. This could be a better nation. Time to set the big horse racing. We can change the situation. Trains are leaving from the station. Need a brand new generation. This could be a celebration now. Situations changing fast. Too much plastic, too much trash, too many smokestacks spewing ash, too many people with no cash, too much waste and not enough water, too many abandoned sons and daughters, too many lost and hopeless feelings, too many low-down shady dealings. This can't be our destination. This could be a better nation. Time to set the big horse racing. Need a brand new generation. Trains are leaving from the station. Me, I got no reservation. This could be a celebration now. All the time I much high-priced propaganda, too much sadness in this land of dreams that once could all come true. Now it's down to me and you. Tell me, what are you going to do? Tell me, what are you going to do now? This can't be our destination. This could be a better nation. Time to set the big horse racing. Need a brand new generation. Trains are leaving from the station. This could be a celebration. Me ain't got no reservation. This is a celebration. This is a celebration. This is a celebration. This is a celebration now, right now.
Rise with me now and receive the benediction. These words come from the Reverend Ali Bell. May we find the courage to revel in the experience of the mystery. May we approach the unknown with excitement, even if we can only muster a little bit. May we celebrate the curiosity that leads to searching. May we meet ourselves along the way and love us unapologetically.